Okay, so just a reminder, standard form for the ellipse with the center at HK. X minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared. Do you guys remember what a is? Yes, a is the bigger number, okay? A is the bigger number. So guys, if the denominator under x is larger, that means it's going to be a horizontal ellipse. And for a vertical ellipse, the largest denominator will be under the y. So this one will have the largest denominator because a is the bigger number. Okay, so plus or minus a is the distance from the center to the vertices. That's going to be the major axis. And plus or minus b is the distance from the center to the covertices, and that's going to be on the minor axis. And to find the formula, or to find the foci, some people call it foci, this is your formula. So in the last lesson, you guys went from the equation and you were able to graph it and plot the vertices and the foci onto the graph. Today we're going to go backwards. I'm going to give you the graph and you guys are going to tell me the vertices, the covertices, and the equation. So we're going backwards today. And the equation is always equal to 1. So make sure you have that equals 1. Right here, can you guys look at this and tell me what the center is? Yep, your center is at 0, 0. So already, I know my equation will be x squared plus y squared. Now we need to find the distance from the vertices and the covertices. So guys, from the center to this point right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces apart. And if I were to go down from the center, 1, 2, 3, 4, this one is 4 spaces apart. So guys, which one is your vertices and which one is your covertices?
6 is your vertices.
Yes, this one will be my vertices, the longest distance. So I have vertices at -6, 0, and +6, 0. And my covertices, those are on the minor axis, and that's at 0, -4, and 0, 4. These are your covertices. Covertices. And this one is your vertices. All right. So guys, your vertices, they're 6 units away from the center. Let's look back at the notes. Plus or minus a, that's the distance from the center to your vertices, and that's what goes here. So 6 squared is 36. So that's what goes underneath the x. That's your horizontal distance from the center. That goes under x. Your vertical distance from the center is 4. So 4 squared is 16. That's what goes underneath the y. So that is your equation. Let's find the foci. So a squared, that's 36, minus the b squared, which is 16. You get the square root of 20. Can you guys put that in your calculator to let me know what number you get? 4.47. Okay, so that means your foci is always on the major axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4.47.
Yes.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4.47. Okay, so your foci, they're at plus or minus 4.47, 0. And this equals 1. Let's not forget that equals 1. This time you have a vertical ellipse. Your vertices are on the y. Your center is still at 0, 0, so I know the equation will just be x squared and a y squared in the numerator. Your vertices, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're 7 spaces away from the center. So 7 squared is 49. So that's what's underneath the y. 7 was your vertical distance. So that goes underneath the y and you square it. Your vertices are at 0, -7, and 0, 7. Now let's talk about the covertices. Your covertices are right here. And those are each 3 spaces away from the center. So 3 squared is 9. I put it under the X because that's the horizontal distance from the center. Your covertices are at -3, 0 and +3, 0. Now you can find the foci. Here's the equation. You put the larger denominator first, subtracted by the smaller denominator. So please let me know, what is the square root of 40? Type that into your calculator. Let's get an approximation. So it's approximately 6.32 plus or minus. So from the center, I have to go onto the major axis. So your major axis this time is vertical. So you're going to go up 6.32 and down 6.32. So your foci is at 0 and plus or minus 6.32. And if this confuses you, you can write it twice. So you have 0 and -6.32 and 0 and +6.32. All right, we're gonna do one more example. Are you guys okay with this so far? Nice. And this is equal to 1. All right, here's your next example. Where is my center? Can you guys tell me where that is?
3, -6.
Is it -6? I think you're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. All right, your vertices. It looks like this is a horizontal one. You have a vertex here and here. And it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away horizontally. So let's go ahead and write our equation. So this is my x value 3. Do you guys know what I'm going to put in my equation? A what? Yep, a minus. It's always opposite. And then for the y, you have a -6. What should I put in my equation? A +6. It's always opposite. We just found that this horizontal distance is 5. So 5 squared is 25. And our vertical distance is 1. The covertices are 1 away from the center. So 1 squared is 1. So that's my equation. You have a vertice at, let's see, this is 3 and you went over 5. So that's 8, -6, and -2, -6. Your covertices are at 3, 5, and 3, -7. And now we have to find our foci. So the equation for the foci is C equals the square root, the larger denominator, minus the smaller denominator. So we get square root of 24. Let me know what that is approximately equal to. 4.89, thank you. So that means from this value 3, you're gonna add 4.89 to get 7.89. So that is about right there. That's one of my foci. So this is at 7.89, -6. And your other one, you're gonna go 3, and then you're gonna subtract 4.89. What do you get when you subtract 4.89? -1.89, perfect. So that's about right here. -1.89, -6. So that is where your foci is located. You start at the center and you go one way 4.89 and the other way 4.89. Any questions on how to go from the graph to getting the equation and the vertices and the foci? Okay, great. Equals 1. I'm gonna have you guys practice this for a moment. Before we start the next part, Can you guys tell me what number is the center between 10 and 20? What number is in the center? Yep, 15. Simple question. Okay? Let's try another one. What number is between 20 and 30? 25. How about if I gave you something a little trickier? What number is between 27 and 53, the dead center? 50? Okay, let's try it. No? Okay. So guys, look at this. Here's the trick. You add these two numbers together. So 20 plus 30 is 50. And then you take half of it. So divided by 2, you get 25. So this is the number between 20 and 30. This previous one, you know that the number between 10 and 20 is 15. So what you can do is 10 plus 20 is 30, and half of 30 is 15. That's the number between 10 and 20. That's called the midpoint formula. Add them, divide it by 2. That's how you find the midpoint. So guys, for this more complicated one, you add them together. So 27 plus 53, you get 80. And what's half of 80?
40.
So that means 40 is the midpoint between 27 and 53, okay? We're gonna have to know how to do this in order to be able to answer this question. Okay, so I have a simple question here. I'm just gonna sketch it so you can get a visual, but you really don't have to sketch these. You can just look at the points. Your vertices are at -5 and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where your vertices are. Your covertices are at 0, -2, and +2. So you have a covertices here and here. So this is your ellipse. So my center is at 0, 0. However, let me show you how to find it algebraically using that midpoint formula. This is an x value and this is an x value, okay? You add the two x values together. So -5 plus 5 is 0. And half of 0 is just 0. So that's how you get that x value. This is a y value and this is a y value. 0 plus 0 is 0 and half of 0 is still 0. So that's how you get the y value of the center, okay? We're applying the midpoint formula. So since I know the center is at 0, 0, I know the equation for the numerator is just going to be x squared and y squared. Now guys, your vertices are horizontal. They're on the major axis. It's opening up in the x direction. So that means this distance is 5 and this distance is 5. So what am I going to put underneath the x squared? Yep, 25. You square that. Now, this vertical distance, that is 2. Your covertices are 2 spaces away from the center. So what will you put under the y value? 4. That's your equation. All right. And make sure we have it equal to 1. I think this one's easy. Let's do this one. So I'm going to sketch you a picture. You don't have to draw a picture, but I just want you to get a visual. This is a good strategy to use. So your vertices, you have one at -5, 1, and 1, 1. Your covertices are at -2, 3, and -2, -1. So your center is going to be somewhere in here. But let's find it. To find the center, if you want to find the x value, this is an x value and this is an x value. Add them together. So -5 plus 1 is -4. Half of -4 is -2. So that's the x value, -2. Let's find the y value. This is a y value and this is a y value. So add them together. 1 plus 1 is 2, and take half of it, you get 1. So that's your center, -2, 1. And what math I did here, I applied the midpoint formula. That's how you find the middle, the center. Okay, so my center is at -2, 1, right there. So this is my ellipse. Is this a horizontal ellipse or a vertical ellipse? Horizontal, because it's wider than it is tall. Okay, so this is a horizontal ellipse. So let's write my equation. For x, what will go in for x? Yep, a +2. It's always opposite. What will go in for y? -1. Okay, that horizontal distance. How far is the center from one of the vertices? How many spaces is that? 3? Yep. 1, 2, 3. So under the x, I will put a 9. 3 squared is 9. For that vertical distance, so from the co-vertice to the center, that is 2 spaces away. So for y, I'm going to put 4, because 2 squared is 4. So this is your equation. Any questions on this one? Okay, let's do another example. Next one. Okay, to find the center. To find the center, here is an x value and here is an x value. You add them together. 5 plus 5 is 10, and you take half of it, which is 5. So your center is at 5. Your y value is 8 and -6. So add those together. 8 plus a -6 is 2. Divided by 2 is 1. So that is your center at 5, 1. Do you guys know if this is going to be a horizontal or a vertical? What do you think? You can always tell by what changes. Yep, it's vertical. The x stays the same. So whatever changes, the y's change, that's going to be a vertical. But anyway, I can sketch it for you so you can see it. 5, 1. That's the center. And your vertices are at 5, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right there. And at 5, -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so those are your vertices. And your co-vertices are 11, 1. So this is at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1. And -1, 1. Okay, so this is your ellipse. It helps to get a visual. All right, so your center, we can go ahead and put that in. You have a +5, so you're going to put a -5. You have a +1, so you're going to put a -1. Now, let's look at that horizontal distance. From 5 to 11, that distance is 6. From here to here is 6. So 6 squared, you get 36. This is the y value 1, and this is the y value 8. So from 1 to 8, what's that distance? 7? So 7 squared is 49. So this is your equation. Any questions on that? Okay, a good strategy is to sketch it. It might help you see what it looks like, okay? It will help you see what it looks like. And for this one too, make sure you have =1. So guys, just to recap, you always want to find the center first, and you use that midpoint formula where you add the numbers together and divide by 2. And then you're going to use the vertices to find A and use the co-vertices to find B. Now I'm going to give you the foci. So if you're given the foci, some people call it the foci, this is the formula that you use, okay? You're going to use this formula, do some algebra to find the missing part. So let's do an example. For this one, I'm just going to sketch what I have. It's always nice to get a visual. So your vertices are at -2, or -9, -2. Right there. And your other one is at -9, -12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right there. So these are where your vertices are. Your foci, I'll do it in green, is at -9, -3. So one below, and -9, -11. So guys, in green, I have the foci, and in red, I have my vertices. Is that okay so far? I just plotted what they gave me. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the center. Remember, to find the center, you do the midpoint formula. This is x and this is x. You add them together, divide by 2. So to find x, -9 plus -9 is -18. Then divide it by 2, you get -9. So that's the x value for the center. To find the y value, this is a y value and this is a y value. Add them together. -2 plus a -12 is a -14. Divided by 2 is -7. So the center is at -9, -7. So I'll go ahead and plot that. -9, -7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right there. That's my center. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start my equation. X, you always put the opposite. So instead of a -9, I'll put a +9. For y, instead of a -7, I put a +7. Now, it looks like this is going to be a vertical ellipse. I know it's a vertical ellipse because they gave me the vertices, and that's vertical. They gave me the foci. That is always on the major axis. So this is a vertical ellipse. So guys, what is the distance between this vertice and the center? This vertice is at -2 and the center is at -7. What's the distance between -2 and -7? Yep, or positive. So positive, distance is positive, so 5. Nice. So what do I put and where do I put it?
25 under the y.
Perfect, 25 under the y. You always square that, so the distance is 5. So 5 squared is 25. Okay, now we need to find the b value. I don't know how wide it goes, so you're gonna have to use the formula. So the foci is equal to the square root of the larger denominator, and I know my larger denominator is 25 because that's for my vertices. Minus, I don't know this denominator, the b squared. I don't know that. The foci, let's see how far that is away from the center. So they said the foci is at -3 and your center is at -7. What's that distance? 4. So your foci is 4 spaces away. Now you can solve for b. So the way you get rid of a square root is you're going to square it. So the square root will cancel out with that squared. You have to square this side. So 4 squared is 16 equals 25 minus b squared. Next, you're going to move the 25 to this side. So you're going to subtract 25 and subtract 25. So you get -9 equals -b squared. And if you don't want the b to be negative, just divide by a -1. So you get b squared equals 9. So that's what you can put right there in your equation. B squared equals 9. So this is your equation. To find that other denominator, you had to use the foci equation. And if you want to graph it, the square root of 9 is 3. So from this way, from the center, you're going to go right 3 and left 3. So this is your ellipse. Okay, let's try another example where they give you vertices and a foci. And make sure you have an equal to 1. They all have an equals 1. Okay, this one, I have a covertices. So we're gonna find the smaller denominator because the covertice, That is on the minor axis. Okay, so I'm gonna sketch what we have. Co-vertices are at 5, 0 and negative 5, 0. So let's find the center. To find the center for the x's, this is an x and this is an x. Add them together, so 5 plus a negative 5 is 0. Half of 0 is 0, so that's the x value of my center. To find the y value, this is y and this is y. So 0 plus 0 is 0 and half of 0 is 0. Okay, so my center is at the origin. So I'll go ahead and plot my center. And your foci is at 0, 12. Right there. And negative 12. Okay, so that's your foci. Okay, so let's go ahead and write my equation. Since it's at the center, I know it'll be x squared plus y squared. Now, I know the small distance, the x distance, that's 5 units away. From here to here is 5. So 5 squared, I'll put a 25. That's my smaller denominator, because this is a vertical ellipse. So the bigger denominator will be here. So how do I figure out that a squared? We're gonna have to do the foci formula. Well, the foci is 12 units away. So it'll be 12 equals square root the larger denominator minus the smaller denominator. This is a vertical ellipse. Okay, so let's solve. You're gonna square both sides. So you get 144 equals a squared minus 25. Then you're gonna add 25 to both sides. So you get 169. A squared is 169. So that's your a squared right there. So this is your equation. And the square root of 169 is 13. So it would be right there, your co-vertices. So this is your ellipse. How do y'all feel about that? Thumbs up if you're okay, middle if you're still a little lost. Okay, good. All right, well, I'll be walking around if y'all need help. And make sure it's equal to 1.